BBC One.
And look what we've found. The BBC balloon is discovered in a shed, but will it ever take to the air again? Now, if you're of a certain age, I'm sure you will remember this.
Now on BBC One, Chris Vasher and Susan Osman with the latest news from Points West.
Those were the days, but it's now 21 years since the highly popular BBC One balloon was last seen between programmes on our screens. But whatever happened to that globe? Well, let's cross live to Jules Hyam, who's in Brislington in Bristol tonight. Jules, what's the answer?
I'll tell you that in a minute, David. It's far too exciting. Very exciting to be here in Brislington, but also the prospect of new life being breathed into that 26-year-old balloon. Now, if you were in any doubt as to how famous it actually was, then take a little look at this. It was the defining image of BBC One for almost 5 years. Between late 97 and mid-2002, the celebrated balloon was on TV in the West, well, even more than David Garmston was. It was a real balloon, and it was filmed flying all over the UK, though it wasn't meant to be quite so orange and red to start with.
The initial designs for the balloon showed it as the traditional blue and green globe, but it was soon realized that it wasn't going to be standing out against any of the backgrounds because all the backgrounds are going to be mostly blue and green or the blue sky. The opposites of green and blue are red and orange, and of course stood out really nicely against all the backgrounds that it was shot against.
It certainly did stand out, and it became a real favourite. It put in performances at events and at the Balloon Fiesta. But eventually it was time for it to retire. And after a final flight, it was put into a big bag. And that big bag was put into storage and forgotten about. Totally.
For 20 years plus now, it had disappeared into various different storage locations and no one knew where it was.
Well, that is, until now. Until now, absolutely until now, because look, it's here. It is actually here. This is the BBC One balloon. Still very, very red in a secret location somewhere in Bristol. It's a garage that is looked after by Liam. Liam, how did you manage to find it?
Well, a ballooning friend of ours, he had it. He kindly loaned it to our old balloon collection and it's been sat here since October last year.
So you knew what you were getting. How exciting was it for you to actually get your hands on the BBC balloon?
Very exciting. As we know, it's a very iconic balloon, especially here in the UK. And special shapes are very popular, so it's very nice to have one in our collection here in Bristol.
Is it a special shape? I mean, it's round.
Yeah, it's a special shape, so it's a sphere shape, so it's very different to the teardrop normal balloons you normally get flying over Bristol day to day.
I hadn't thought about that at all. Of course, it's actually round because it is a globe. Now, look, we can see it's in reasonably good condition, and you were telling me earlier that actually, you were really impressed by how well the red has survived.
Well, what we can see so far, this is the first time we've actually pulled out the envelope bag. And normally red tends to fade quicker than any other colour. So what we can feel here is quite very good. So we look forward to inflating it the first time and seeing what it's like.
Now inflating it, what's the plan with that?
Well, we have permission to get it out on the weekend, this weekend, and we're going to see if there's anything wrong with it. Hopefully it's all good. We'll inflate it, hot inflate it, stand it up. Hopefully it's all good for this year.
So, it's going to get inflated at the weekend, and then who knows what might happen. We could see this full of hot air. We could even see it take to the skies.
Jules, thank you. Yeah, it's a bit faded in a few holes, bit like me, really. It'd be lovely to see it flying again. I think it was my favourite.